Hi everyone, it's Mariah. Today I wanted to talk about making consent sexy. Before I begin, I wanted to start with an Arthurian legend. Today I'm going to tell you the story of Sir Gawain and Lady Ragnell. King Arthur and his party were in the forest of Inglewood, hunting deer. King Arthur followed a deer into the woods, and there he was met by Sir Gomer. King Arthur quaked. He looked at Sir Gomer and he said, "Ah, Sir Gomer, it would give you no honor for you to have such a suit of armor, and me to be in these such plain clothes. You were to kill me. So shall we meet again?" Sir Gomer saw that King Arthur was simply trying to save his head, and instead said, "Ah, King Arthur, I give you a riddle, and I will meet you here in this forest of Inglewood in 1 year, and you may save your head if you can solve the riddle." "Of course," replies King Arthur. And Sir Gomer says, the riddle is, what do women want? King Arthur takes the deer, rejoins his party, and tells no one, save for his nephew, Sir Gawain. And if you are familiar with Arthurian legend, you will know that Sir Gawain is King Arthur's most loyal subject. He would do anything there is for King Arthur. And so King Arthur, in private, tells Sir Gawain of what happened in the forest. After the party returns from the hunt, King Arthur and Sir Gawain go from land to land searching for the key. One lovely afternoon, King Arthur comes up again to a loathly lady. That's how she's referred to in the stories. Her hair is torn and matted and knotted. Her teeth are scraggly and brown. Her skin is wrinkly. She smells like a skunk. Her clothes are torn, and she's round as a barrel. And she comes up to King Arthur, and at first King Arthur's like, And he shies away from the lady, and she's like, "You want to talk to me? I have what you need." It's like, "Oh, you do? Pray tell." She's like, "I have the answer. But there's a catch. I want something in return." "What is it?" asks King Arthur. She said, "I want the hand of Sir Gawain." King Arthur thinks, and he says, "Well, I must go speak to my nephew." So King Arthur goes and he speaks to Sir Gawain, and he says, "Oh, nephew, if you marry the Lady Ragnell, then she will tell me the answer to the riddle, and I will save my head." And Sir Gawain's like, "Of course, anything I can do for you." And so King Arthur goes back to Lady Ragnell, who at this point is still the lowly lady. They don't know that she is Lady Ragnell at this point. And says, "Okay, you will have my nephew's hand in marriage. What is the answer to the riddle?" And I'm going to read this next part from a translation of the poem. And so, "Sire," said Dame Ragnell, "now you shall know what women want most. From rich men and poor I will tell you the truth. Some men say we desire to be beautiful, or that we desire sex with many men as we can find. Others say we want pleasure in bed. Others say we want many husbands. Yet men just don't understand. We want an entirely different thing. We want to be seen as young, fresh. We want to be flattered cleverly. Thus, you men can win us always and get what you want. But there is one thing that is our fantasy, and that is what you shall know now. We desire most from men both rich and poor, to have sovereignty without lies. For where we have sovereignty, all is ours. Though a knight be ever so fierce, and ever win mastery, it is our desire to have mastery over such a sir. Such is our purpose. Therefore, go, Sir King, on your way, and tell the knight what I have told you, that we women want most. I'm going to read a part of that to you again. We desire most from men both rich and poor, to have sovereignty without lies. For where we have sovereignty, all is ours. And with that, King Arthur goes into the Inglewood Forest and meets with Sir Gomer. He tells Sir Gomer, I have the answer to your riddle. And Sir Gomer says, continue. And King Arthur repeats, what women want most is to have sovereignty without lies. For where they have sovereignty, all is theirs. And Sir Gomer says, for this you may keep your head. The next day, Sir Gawain goes to marry Lady Ragnell, the lovely lady. And she wants a beautiful wedding. The white dress and jewels in a church with doves and a beautiful community. She wants it all. And the other knights, they laugh at Sir Gawain when they look at his wife and his bride, how hideous she is. Her crooked teeth that are brown, her knotted and matted hair, rats are crawling in her hair, and she smells like a trash pile. And yet, Sir Gawain says, I am a man of my word, I'm going to go forward with this. The two of them are betrothed. That evening, on their honeymoon, they are getting ready for bed, and Sir Gawain's there, and Lady Ragnell comes in her lingerie, and Sir Gawain is polite. While he has not yet found his new bride attractive, he loves his king so much that he's going forward with this. And she tells him the tale that she was once enchanted by a witch. However, now that she is married, she gives the choice to her husband. Would he like her to be loathly during the daytime and beautiful at night, or loathly during the nighttime and beautiful during the day? And without missing a beat, Sir Gawain says, ah, my lady, it is your choice. And with that, a spark of magic happens, and she turns into this fair, beautiful princess that she once was, because she had the spell broken by being given her true and full choice. And so the key to this is, what do women want? What does anyone want? This doesn't have to be a gendered thing. This is a gendered story. We all want to choose. We all want autonomy, right? And so this is where we get to the idea of consent. Consent is saying yes. Consent is saying, that is what I want. I choose to take this next step. I choose to do this with you. I choose. That's what consent is. Consent is choice. And so why is this important? Well, it's important because we need to know that what we are doing reinforces someone's autonomy. It's important to know that what we are asking to do with them is something they want to do. And so how can we do this? Well, it's simple questions, you know. Would you like to? May I? You know, it'd really turn me on if I could nibble on your ear right now. Or, I'd really like it if you kissed my neck. Or, your hair is really sexy. May I touch it? You know, whatever it is, just play. Ask. To make this an infinite game. An infinite game is a game that you're playing simply to play. There is no winner, there's no loser. The whole goal is just to keep playing. This isn't like, oh, well, you're playing games with me. It's like, no, I'm playing a game. Life is a game. How do you make this a joy? And so, instead of looking at consent as, oh, well, if I ask, they might say yes. Look at consent as, how can I ask? Because I want to show them that I'm really interested in it. And I only want to play with you on a level that you really want to play back with, right? I want that fuck yeah. I want the, oh, come on, yeah, let's do that together. That sounds like a lot of fun. Rather than, oh, well, I could, or maybe. I mean, and this does bring us to the point in consent. We know that fuck yeah is yes. We know no is no. But what's maybe? Maybe is also a no. Maybe is a no right now. It's not a forever no. It's a, I don't want to do that right this moment. And then this can fall into the other thing that we've all experienced. Well, physically it sounds like a really good idea, but emotionally it doesn't. That's a no. If it's not a fuck yeah, it's a no. And it's not a forever no. It could be a forever no. But saying no doesn't mean forever no. It just means right now I'm not in the mood. And we can change our minds, you know? You've been in a monogamous relationship or a poly relationship, whatever relationship. You've been in a relationship for a while with somebody. And saying, actually, sweetie, tonight is a no, isn't taking that away forever. It's just saying, in this moment, right this second, it's not a fuck yeah. It's not a, I'm excited to do this. And so let's not do this because I'm not excited about it. And then there's another really big thing, particularly sexually, that asking for consent does. Asking for consent asks both partners to look for what are your boundaries. What is it that you want to do? And so when you ask, before moving on with each step, you have that chance to go inside and say, is this what I want right now? And if it's a yeah, then great. And if it's a no, then it's a stop, right? But how often are we actually asked? And this is the thing, is when we get into situations that we don't want to be in, whether it's sexually or with friends or substances or whatever it is, often it's because we didn't stop to take an inventory. We didn't stop to take the time to explore what was going on in that moment. And so we kept going on. But if between each action, sexually, there's just that quick, you know, I've really enjoyed nibbling on your ear, but would you like it if I kissed your neck now? Or even just taking, you know, the finger. Like, may I kiss you right here? Or I'd really like to kiss you right here. It would turn me on if I could kiss you right there, right now. You know, all of those are ways of asking for consent that allows the person to say, yeah. One, it can be a turn on. ooh, you're about to go kiss my neck. That sounds so lovely, right? It's also that check-in to make sure that you are both on the same page. And then it's that check-in to know where the boundary is, right? And the other thing is sometimes we don't know our boundaries, or we think the boundary is where it is. I've never had my ear licked before. I don't think I'd like that. You start licking my ear, ooh. But, hey, I would really like to lick your ear. Would you be interested in trying it? May I? Well, I've never done it before. It sounds kind of weird. But if you want to do it, and if I don't like it and I say no and stop, then you stop. Okay, we can make that negotiation. We can have that conversation. But if I've never had my ear licked before and I don't feel comfortable with it, and you start licking my ear, it can be like, ew, gross, get off, right? And so it's a way of communicating and way of trying new things. It's also really good for us to stop and ask ourselves, is this something that I'm doing because I want to do it? Or am I doing it out of expectation? And this is a big thing with asking for consent. Well, if I say, hey, can I, nibble your ear? And you say no, and I'm like, well, you're a prude, or you're no fun, or whatever it is. If I judge it, if I respond negatively to it, then I was never asking for consent. I was asking for you to want what I wanted you to want. And that's different than asking for consent. And so this is the question that we also need to ask as people who are asking for consent, is how do I ask for consent in a completely open way that allows the other person to feel comfortable with whatever response that is given. I won't feel rejected if they're like, don't feel like having my ear nibbled on right now. I won't take that as, oh, well, obviously you don't want to engage with me sexually at all. It's like, that's what I don't want right now. No ears. Obviously, as the person that's being asked, maybe a redirect would be helpful. I'm not really feeling you nibbling on my ear, but maybe you could brush my hair. That'd be really nice and sweet. Right? So there's lots of ways that person can play, but as the person asking for consent, and the person asking for consent is hard to figure out who it is. To put it in simple terms, it's a person that has more responsibility. So if there is someone that is more experienced, or if you are doing more kink, that's obviously the person on top. If there is a experience differential, it's the more experienced person. But in a equal relationship, it's whoever's making the first move. But then the other person could also ask for consent by saying, hey, sweetie, will you come nibble on my neck? I'd really like that right now. So consent can be offered rather than requested. But it's really important when asking for consent that it's actually a request, an open invitation, and that there's no expectation. Because how often have people, we've all known that person, whether it's been you or somebody else, who has felt an obligation. You just took me to a fancy dinner, or this is our 8th date, or it's your birthday, or whatever. I should do this. Or if I don't do this, you won't think I'm cool. Or I'm afraid you'll break up if I don't do this with you. Or whatever the story is. There's always a million different stories that people have that it feels like the consent is given, but the consent is actually not given because it was a coercion, whether or not the person actually felt coerced. You know, coercion would be when somebody like cajoles or says, oh, well, if you do this, I'll do that. Or if you don't do this, I'll do that. Even worse, right? If you don't nibble on my ear, then I'll tell your mom about this bad thing you did. You know, obviously there's like blackmail level. But we can get it, it's just like little things. It's like, oh, I like him. We've been dating for a while. I guess that we should go forward with this. And that isn't a fuck yeah. That's in the maybe, that's in the meh, that's in the anything but a fuck yeah. So that's not a yes, that's a no, right? But the big thing is how to continuously work within yourself on asking the question in a way that it really is an invitation. I would like, you know, if it would bring you joy, I would also like to do this with you. Obviously, you don't have to use those words, but it's like, oh, actually I would really like if you did that right now with me. Or I would like to do that with you right now. That sounds fuck yeah, that sounds fun, right? And then at the same time, if you ask that person, they're like, no, not really. Like, okay, cool. Well, would you like to do something else sexually? You know, you can suggest something else. Or you could be like, okay, you know, I'm kind of getting the, you know, not feeling a sexy vibe with you right now. How about we sit down and watch a movie? Or play a game of cards? Or, you know what, I'm just feeling like maybe it's time to go home right now. Or whatever it is. But it's like, how do you ask the question in a way that actually allows the person to consent rather than feeling like they need to say yes or do something in order to be in your good graces, or that like they owe you something. Well, you did buy that nice dinner and the theater tickets, so I should, but I don't really want to. You know, that's again, that's a coercion. That's not a fuck yeah. And so I ask that you consider exploring these things, you know. Explore, how do you ask for consent and make it sexy? Make it playful, make it fun. How do you use those consent times to check in? Check your boundaries, check your barriers, check where you are in the present moment, and then check when you say, I don't want to, or that doesn't sound fun. Is that actually, you know, why? And the answer of, I just don't like it, is a perfectly fine why. This is probably not something that you're going to do in the moment of having that sexual experience, but it's something you might want to reflect on later. Huh. Well, I don't like that because it reminds me of my ex, or, you know, I read this article, or kids made fun of me at this time, or it's taboo, you know, so kind of play with those things. And then we also talked about how to offer consent and ask for consent in an open-minded, non-judgmental way as an invitation, so the other person feels free to answer however it is that they want to answer. And you really do get consent versus coercion or a fulfilling of expectation. So yeah, those are some fun things to play with. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I had a lovely talk with you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.